What are the basic communication skills expected from a new recruit in terms or written and verbal communication?
Because you're coming in and you want to learn, you want to understand the corporate culture. So a good, effective listener, one who is imbibing, who's learning, who's comprehending, who's asking the right questions, who's interacting appropriately, that is very, very important. Some people come in, oh, I'm an MBA from XYZ and I know the whole thing, and I'm going to conquer the world tomorrow and I'm going to tell the CEO how to run his business. That's going to, you may be able to communicate those very well verbally and written wise, but ultimately it's not going to get you very far. So you really have to spend time, understand the industry, learn the industry, know the uniqueness of the industry, how do you fit in, how do your skill sets get adjusted to that industry. You could be a good finance person, but you can't be a good generic finance person. Ultimately those finance skills have to translate to industry specifics. How am I a good telecom finance specialist? Because every industry has its nuances in terms of how you do it. Sales and marketing, same thing. Yes, there are certain generic skills, but then there are very, very specific skills in terms of doing well in a telecom environment. So in that type of situation, when you ask for communications, first and foremost skill set, good listeners. Good listeners usually then make good communicators because they understand, they empathize with people, they understand what people are saying, they understand how to respond. Then you respond, right? Then communicate well in terms of an articulate language, be it Hindi or your mother tongue or English or whatever is the environment you're functioning in, to be able to effectively get your ideas. And you don't need to have, if you're speaking in Hindi, 80% of your language doesn't have to be high Sanskrit, Effectively, says, how do I convince somebody that what I'm trying to communicate is worth listening to and worth implementing or carrying forward. So that's very, very important. And of course, the written skills, your verbal skills and your written skills, because in our day and environment, although you have Twitter and all of this limited vocabulary, there's a end of the day necessity to be able to write well. And I think that's one skill set we are losing as a result of our ability to go to Facebook and jot something down on Twitter or blog or something. We're getting used to where spelling is not important. SMSs, you use all kinds of shortcuts. That's all fine. That's communication. But I think in a corporate environment, ultimately, we are going to be responsible for making presentations to the board, to investors, to banks, to other stakeholders. We need to be able to have the ability to write well, to spell well, basic grammar. I find, unfortunately, a lot of folks come into our organization very poor in grammar, very poor in spelling, and it detracts from your communication, because if I have to correct language and grammar, I'm saying is, I'm losing what it is that you're trying to say. So developing those skill sets for communication is very important.